Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming a God of Thing Fall Autumn reading challenge wrap up, which is a seasonal reading challenge I have here on my channel where I have 4 challenges for each month of the season, so 12 books over 3 months. Now the autumn is over, now in November we're going into the winter season in December, so a new challenge video will be up very soon after this. Just need to wrap up autumn first, and yay! So I'm wrapping up 12 books here today, some of which I read like 3 months ago, so this is also a strange way to do it because like the thoughts I had for the books faded away because I don't even remember anything ever, so yay! If you want to join my reading challenge for the next season, I hope you do. Let's wrap up these books. I need to cheat because I have forgotten the challenges, of course. In September, the first challenge was My Best Frenemy, choose a book from your least favorite genre. I said that in a really weird way. My least favorite genre has been like crime novels, but I like thriller and like mystery things. But my least favorite within that genre is Nordic Noir, which is basically detective shit based upon like the cottage crime novels from like Britain and stuff. And yeah, Nordic Noir is like a detective that solves like a different case in every book and stuff, and like it's one of the most popular genres in Norway. I have never liked it, so I read one book in that genre. I continue with a series I've been reading for a while, which is the Harry Hole series. My like Norwegian accent really came out strong there, by Jo Nesbø. This one is The Snowman, or Snowman is its original title. I think it's the 7th book following the same character, and this is the most famous book in the series, so I have been excited to finally get to this and see what all the hype is about. To be honest, I still don't get it. I think I enjoy now Harry Hole as a character because I've been reading 7 books with him and I do like him as a character. Like, he's very flawed, of course, that is like the whole point with these, but I don't love the story, and I think like the mysteries aren't like as thrilling and mysterious as I think other people think. And it's not like I hate them, but I don't love them. And also like I predicted who the killer was really early on, and that was kind of boring. And I feel like a lot of people saying that this is super gross and scary and like super brutal, and I didn't feel any of that. I don't know, it's because I read so much fantasy, and like in fantasy it's usually a lot of brutality and death. There's a lot of death, so I'm used to it. Maybe like my brain is used to reading about it. Not like if it happened in real life I'd probably not be used to it, of course, but fictional wise I'm used to it. So yeah, I get less down because this was the one I had the most hope for. But yeah, I give it like 3 stars, I think. I don't even remember. I wanted to watch a movie too because like I know it was really bad but I wanted to watch it, and I finally read a book, but I haven't done that yet because I forgot. The next challenge was called Google Maps. It was to choose a book set on a different continent than yours. I live in Norway, which is set in Europe. I took a book set in the United States of America, aka the continent of America, because I am boring and basic. So I decided to read Everything I Never Told You, or Alt jeg ikke sa by Celeste. This one is the Norwegian edition of it because I just had it on my shelves. I would prefer to actually have read it in English, but it wasn't bad translation. I had it already and I didn't want to spend money. This is Celeste Ng's first book. I read Little Fires Everywhere earlier this year and I really enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed this one so much as well. So this one follows a family. It's set in a certain year, but now it doesn't say back which year it is, but it's set like 60s. No, that's way too early. I don't remember because my brain can't remember, but like it's not set in the modern days. It's set like a bit before, and the 16-year-old girl in this family has now disappeared, and we go back in flashbacks and we follow the different characters in the family to find out what and how she disappeared and why, of course. So basically the father of this family is Asian and the mother is white, and the kids are thereby half Asian, of course. And there really is this whole theme of the book where like the father never fit in, but he wants his kids to fit in a lot, but like they're still too Asian, as you would call it, for society to accept them as they are. So the kids still get bullied as the father did, even though he really wished they didn't. And Lydia, the daughter who disappears, he always thought that she fit in, had lots of friends, just like he always wanted for himself, and now his kids have gotten this. But that turns out to maybe not be as true as he thought. And yeah, the mother, as I said, loves the dad, but she also has struggled in her own way, with like others being like, why did you marry this Asian dude? There's a lot of like questions about race and different things. The things that they are calling this, as it is translated into Norwegian, I don't know exactly how that would be in English. Probably like the same, just like with English words. But I was called exactly the same thing when I went to school. It's not really funny, but I'm laughing about it now because I'm laughing away my pain. When I read those words in the book, I was just like, oh my god, this is me. Not really, like of course all experiences are totally different and stuff, but so far I have enjoyed the last things 2 books so much, and I'm so excited to read whatever the author will come with ever. Distinctions and like the Asian part of the family was really interesting, and also just in general the characters in the last book was so well written out and complex and everything, and it was the same in this one. So I really just enjoy how the author writes and how deep she goes into the characters to find out the motivations and everything behind what they've been through. But yay, very fun. 4 out of 5 stars. The next challenge was called Blank Canvas, and it was to choose a book with your least favorite color on the cover. So I chose to Ask and Answer by Patrick Ness. My least favorite color is blue. I don't hate blue, I just like, if I was gonna choose one that was my least favorite, it would be blue. So this is the sequel to The Knife of Never Letting Go, which is his first book in a series called Chaos Walking. Chaos Walking trailer actually came out like just a few days ago, so I think there will be a lot of hype of this book going forward. I read the first one, The Knife of Never Letting Go, in 2017 I think, so it's been a few years. And yeah, I picked up the sequel and I was just like, what is going on? But then like it did come to me. It is a really special series. We have like all the boys can read each other's thoughts, and like they live in this noise, as they call it, where they just read each other's thoughts and there's no girls there. And then this one girl basically disappears out of the sky, and our main character Todd meets her. Her name is Viola, and they discover lots of secrets about the society and like the world they live in and what and why, and a lot of things is going on there. I would recommend actually to not watch the trailer if you don't want any spoilers, because I thought they gave way too much information there that like is basically reveals in the first book. This is the second one. Don't know how much I can talk about it, you know, without spoilers, but like I did enjoy it. I just feel like I don't enjoy the series as much as I like thought I would. It's really weird, but it is enjoyable. But like this was intense and it had a lot of different things going on, a lot of different sides, a lot of things going forward, and I'm very excited to see the third book that I also have had for years but haven't gotten to yet. Hopefully will happen next year maybe. I'm already calling it. I won't read it this year. I don't know what more to say. It's an enjoyable, really weird series, really special writing. So like if you don't like really weird writing, I don't recommend this for you, but like it has a lot of twists and turns and a lot of fucked up shit is going on here. So yay. I don't remember what I rated it, 4 stars or 3 stars, one of those. The next challenge was called Potted Plant, and it was to choose a coming of age LGBT plus book with a black man character, and I chose for that one The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Junoda Petrus. And this one follows the 2 girls who meets and falls in love, and is also really sad. So one of the girls is from Trinidad, which I don't know how to pronounce, and she is forced to move to America to her dad after being caught with her girlfriend from her mother. Then she meets this other girl, they get a thing. I'm looking at the synopsis because I'm like, what even happened in this? It is written in a very special way as well, very beautiful and lyrical and stuff. And I read a bit about it, that this is how these kind of stories are usually told in that kind of tradition, which I now feel like I'm explaining really badly. It reminded me a bit of like other books I read earlier this year told in this way. My brain cannot function right now and remember like what that kind of way of telling a story is called, but yeah, it has special writing in it and I really enjoyed it. It is very different and refreshing to read like something that is not told in exactly the same way. It was very sad though. I also know that the book has gotten some feedback on the representation of one of the characters coming from Trinidad, I believe, so check that out if you're gonna pick up the book and keep that in mind. But other than that, I thought the story was beautiful, and I apparently don't have much more to say. Like I feel like what I would want to say would be maybe a spoiler, but I feel like it's like a beautiful story you have to experience for itself. I was really hyped for this. I think the cover is really pretty, and that like I just like the title as well. It's like very poetic title, and I feel like it did live up to what I thought the book would be. And yeah, it was very cute, and I had a lot of different themes and stuff in it. It was very cute, diverse, and yay. Like, yeah, if you didn't get it, it's an F romance. Did I say that? I did say that, right? But yay, apparently cannot function in this video as per usual, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. In October, the first challenge was called 9 Lives, and it was to choose a book with a cat on the cover. For this one, I read Gallowglass by Scarlett Thomas. This is the 3rd book in the Wallcrake series, and this one is basically a 4-book series, I believe. The 4th one hasn't come out yet, and there was this quakes that made they have really little electricity and stuff, and we have 4 or 5 different main characters. That says a lot that my brain cannot function and remember how many main characters we have. We have 4 main characters. I'm really sorry. I just like mixed it up in my head a bit here. And all of them learn that they have different abilities and powers and have different like roles as heroes, etc. That they're gonna go out and, I was gonna say save the world, but yeah, basically it has a lot of different aspects of the story, like really cool things in this world that the author has made up. Like, for example, this thing called the Lost Reader. So like, if there's the 1 copy of a book left in the world and one person reads it, then that person will be the last reader of this book, and they get a boom for reading that book. It's really cool. So there's people going around trying to collect and find the last editions of all books to become the last reader, because then you become really powerful. That is just one aspect of the book I really like a lot. There's like also different roles, and some might be a witch and so have different kind of powers, some might be a healer, etc. It's really cool. A lot of different like different worlds, or like 2 different worlds, and just different kinds of stories within the story, and really cool characters, and it's just so fun. It's a middle grade. Yeah, if you get the UK hardcovers, they also glow in the dark. This is, as I said, the 3rd book in the series, and I have been enjoying it, but I do also think that the end in this one and the 2nd one was just like super fast wrapped up. They like build up for such a long time to this thing, and then they're like, they come there and they're like, oh, it's over. So I ended up like lowering my rating a bit, because it was a bit disappointing how they wrapped up the story, and like, yeah, so I think I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars to this and the last one. But I do enjoy like all the parts of the story a lot, but I think the plot can be worked a bit more on. The next challenge was called Initial Reaction. It was to read a book with the author had the same initials as your first and last name. So I read a Stephen King book, because SK is my initials for my first and last name. I read Carrie, which I had on my shelves for a while. It was also October, so I was kind of feeling to read a horror book. And yay! This was, I think, one of my biggest disappointments I have ever read. It sounds horrible, but I have of course heard about Carrie for ages, who hasn't, and it's like his debut, I believe, and also really short, and yeah, and I watched that weird movie, newest one that came out, and I was like, okay, that was weird. But yeah, I had more hopes for the book, because I heard so many great things about it for such a long time. And it wasn't completely there for me. I think I didn't like the writing, and just like how the story developed. Yeah, I think the most interesting part was like the newspaper and book clips in between, where you like get to know what happened after, how people talk about it as a thing that happened, and I thought that was interesting. But like, I don't even remember anything that I actually liked about this. I didn't like the writing and the characters. And yeah, I am disappointed in Mr. King, and I think I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars, which sounds so harsh. Oh my god. The next challenge is called Spelling Bee, and it is to choose a book with spellcasters. So I chose the 3rd book in the Magisterium series, The Woman's Key. I had this on my shelves for ages. Finally continuing a bit with this series. I think I read the 2nd one actually earlier this year, and then like the first one like many years before. So this is basically follows Callum, who finds out that he has powers and goes to a magic school. It's so simple as that. But then there's so much more aspects to the story. I don't know how much to spoil, but like it does have some twists and turns that you do not expect from this kind of story. Like they took really typical tropes and then they turn them around, and I really like that. This one focuses basically that they have a spy among them and then try to figure out who it is. So it was fun, but I feel like the books could be more like they focus a lot on one thing, then we forget another thing. Like we don't follow their classes that much. I am unsure what it was crazy in this one though. So I'm really encouraged to see how the last 2 books will go and how it will really turn around the characters. And I think what I enjoy most about the series is it really asks what is evil and what is good, and I always like that questions. And yeah, this is another middle grade actually. I love my middle grades, okay? I really like how Holly Black and Cassandra Clare has turned this around. I forgot even to say the authors, but I love how they're taking these tropes and turn them around. Yay. 3 out of 5 stars I think I gave this. or was it 4? I don't even know. The next challenge was called Trick and Treat. It was to choose a mystery, thriller, horror with a black main character. For this one I chose Monder's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, and this is my first Tiffany D. Jackson book, but I heard about them of course for a while, and I've been really excited to finally start the books. I just didn't know they were like thriller mystery. I for some reason assumed they were just contemporary, but yeah, it was perfect for the challenge, and I chose this one. And this one was sad. It had some serious horrible things going down in it, and I'm getting goosebumps because it was really good, but it was really horrible to read about. So it follows Claudia, and her best friend is Monday, and then Monday just disappears. So she doesn't answer her phone calls, she doesn't show up at school, and they've been best friends for many years, and no one cares that she has disappeared. And that, I think, is one of the parts that scared me the most about this book, is that there are certain kids out there with certain skin colors that if they do not show up at school, if they do not appear, no one will actually care and look for them. And that scares me deeply for people and kids in this world. And it was a highly themed thing in this book. I cannot say coherent sentences. I really enjoyed Claudia as a character. She was very naive and a good character to follow. Not just naive, but very like, it was interesting to see her learn about Monday and her new part of her life. But yeah, high trigger warnings for like child abuse. However, I did enjoy this, and it was basically almost a 5-star read. But then there came this twist in the end, and I'm not gonna say that I hated it, but it was just a bit weird. I didn't feel like it came natural. I know that it was supposed to be like this kind of plot twist thing, but I just don't think that the book needed that kind of plot twist. I think it was so heavy and good without that plot twist. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but I literally feel like it made the story not make sense. Like, not the story of what happened to Monday, but the story of what Claudia has been doing throughout this whole book. I did think it was a very interesting take on it, and I'm not saying like it didn't work at all, but it just didn't work for me as a reader. I was just like, what is even going on right now? I thought it was a bit strange, and I just didn't think that the story needed that part of it. It was still an interesting way to tell it, and I guess it made sense for other parts of the story, but from other parts of the story didn't make sense. It's hard to talk about like spoiling it, but yeah, that made the story kind of fall a bit apart for me. Again, didn't hate it, but yeah, I ended up giving 4 out of 5 stars. I think it is a solid story. I was very impressed, very excited to read more by this author. I know that Tiffany just got out a new one now this fall, but I have some other ones to catch up on. Do the author have 3 or 4 books out? I do not know, but I'm excited to read more. It was a good one though, and it was very suspensey to get to the point where we finally found out that what happened to Monday, and that was good. Yay. Now we're in November, finally, and the first challenge was called Twin Souls. Choose a LGBT plus romance book, and for that one I chose You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson, and this one has an affirmative romance if you're unaware, and this one was so cute and it was just so good. I cannot deal. So it follows Liz, who always wanted to go to this school. What's it called? I do not know. But she wants to go to school but doesn't have money to go there. But in her town, where like the biggest focus is basically winning prom queen, and then you get like a lot of money if you win. So she was like, okay, I will run, and then if I win, I will have enough money to go to the school I want to go to. But she hasn't initially cared about this before, but then she found out when doing this, she comes out of her shell, reach out to friends that she hadn't talked to for years. So many other good things happens in her life because of this, and it's just seeing her growing as a character, meeting this other girl that is, they are adorable together, and it was just full happy and fluffy, but also of course has themes in it. For example, her mother passed away when she was younger, and like her grandparents has been raising her by this sickle cell. Her brother has this too, and it's in a lot of pain often because of this. Like, it's just harsh themes in it, and it was sad, but it was also so much happiness. It landed the ending perfectly. I almost cried. It was so good. I think I almost gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I don't even know if I rounded up to 5 or if I actually gave it 4 like on Goodreads or whatever. But yeah, it was so good, and it made me so happy. So it was a great pick for me, just saying. I like that I went from like super dark to like super fluffy. The next challenge was called Kindred Spirits by a trans person of color author. Is that even like a sentence? I don't even know. Either way, I chose Queen of the Conquered, I'm losing my voice, by Case and Calendar, and this one I read another book by Kaysen earlier this year, Felix Ever After, which is one of my favorites for the whole year. So I'm just excited to pick up any books by them because Felix Ever After was a masterpiece. So like I want to read everything that they are written. So yeah, I decided to go with their fantasy series, and it was a ride, I'm telling you. So this one all have like Danish names and places and like for the powers and everything, but Danish and Norwegian is very similar. So like reading names, like I read them in Norwegian in my head, but yeah, it follows Sigore. I don't even know how to say that. Is that even a Danish name? I do not know. It's like it reminds me of a Danish name or like a Norwegian name. Scandinavic name is the right word to say it, but it's like not. I don't even know how to say that name. It's like a super easy name. I'm really sorry. The main character focuses a lot on slavery because they live on these different islands, and the white people, of course, has enslaved all the islanders that live there. They have its own name. What are they called? They're called something. White people who came and enslaved them. I don't remember what they're called. Either way. And our main character is black though, but she is also a part of the people who are slaves because her grandfather or father, early in her family, they become really rich and manage to become one of the kongeli, which is what I would call them, which is basically one of the royals, but not royals. I guess you could say one of the aristocracy. Is that even how you say that word? One of the nobles. Let's make words easy for myself. The slaves hate her because she is black as them, but she still lives in privilege and has never lived in slavery. But also the other nobles hate her because they don't think that she is a noble and should be a slave. So there's really this whole dynamic between all of them. And my character is also really selfish and self-centered. She is saying that she wants to become, well, basically the queen of all islands because the king is going to choose a heir, and she wants to become that heir to free everyone. And she wants to be their savior, and she wants them to love them, but she also wants the white people to love them, the other nobles. She can't have both, and can she even have either? We don't really know. And it's very interesting dynamics, but you also kind of hate my character a bit because it's kind of the point though, and I think it's really good writing here to be able to make us feel all these things, see all these different dynamics of elitism and racism and privilege. It's very, very interesting. So the main character can also read people's minds. So we get a lot of long passages and pages of reading into people's minds, what they're thinking, what they're planning. It's very, very interesting. And I like those parts too. And I think like what bothered me the most about the book is actually how the plot kind of unraveled. The main character really clearly has this goal, and then like that kind of got shoved away, and I'm just trying to do this other thing. But since we're so distracted by people's thoughts and like other things happening, it's a lot of like jingle around. I feel like we lose the motivation of the story throughout it. And I'm not saying it's a bad book, but I know a lot of people didn't like it that much. But I do think that it had a lot of great themes, and I do like how it was written and how it was carried forward, these themes, and like the characters, how complex they were. I just think that the plot could have been constructed a lot better because I feel like it got lost somewhere along the way. But yeah, I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, but maybe like 3.5. I would definitely read the sequel, which is actually coming now in December. When I would pick that up, who knows. It was a very different experience, at least from reading Felix Ever After and then going into this one. But Kaysen has really interesting ideas, and I'm excited to see what else they write. I know they have other books out, so yeah, we'll get to them all eventually. The next challenge is called Interstellar, and it was to choose a sci-fi book with a person of color, LGBT plus main character. I failed this one pretty hard because first of all, I guess one of the main characters was LGBT plus. That is a thing. One of the main characters here is actually asexual. I read Raybearer by Jordan Fueko, but it's not a sci-fi, okay? It said sci-fi on Goodreads for a little while, so that is why I thought it was a sci-fi. Do not trust Goodreads genres because it's how people are thinking of the book, so it's not accurate. Yeah, I trusted it. I had another pick for this, but I never got around to buy it. So since I would have had this one, I would just like went with it. But I wasn't sure if it was a sci-fi. It was not. It's a full-on fantasy. Yeah, I'm an idiot. So I kind of failed this challenge a bit, but here I am. I do not care. I'm still going to talk about this though, because I did read it for this, but I did kind of fail the challenge. So like, I don't know, punish me somehow. Either way, Raybearer was amazing. Not a sci-fi, but it was amazing. It follows Teresa, which I know I'm pronouncing incorrectly, who basically is the daughter of Lilith, like the queen of demons, the devil, whatever. And she gets this spell on her where she's gonna kill the crown prince when he enrolls her in this council thing, and they're all connected. But she doesn't want to do that. So what does she do about it? Well, I guess you have to read a book to find out. It's so good. The beginning, the 101st pages was like so good. I was just so shocked of the originality, the writing, the ideas, setting up all the pieces, just like how, I was gonna say kingdom worked, how the king worked, how like he was alive. If you read a book, you know what I'm talking about. It was so good, the setup and everything. And now it seems like I'm gonna say like the rest was bad. It's not bad, and it was explosive, but there is a middle part that is very much slow, and like not a lot of things is going down as much. And I think that's really natural for a book to have, like, you need to build up to something. But I also feel like the beginning was so solid, but the mid part definitely needed more solidness to carry through what you promised in the beginning. But yeah, I like the first part of the book was just so good. I was so immersed into knowing how the system works, and all the characters are great, and it's a really good one. Good solid fantasy. I really enjoyed it. I am just like so excited to see how and what will happen going forward, because the end was insane. And yeah, a lot of things went down in this that you maybe think will come later in the series, but the author definitely chose to put it all out there, and now I think it's really hard to see where the rest of the story will go, and I love that. Instead of just like using the rest of the book to like fight one thing, it's a new thing now, kinda. And yeah, it's a lot of things, other things going on in this. I cannot talk about it coherently, but it was just so good. And yeah, I did fail this challenge, but it was still a great pick, so I do not regret anything, just so you know. But yeah, recommend it a lot. I think I ended up giving 4 out of 5. It was almost a 5, but then I have this thing about plot. It needs to be a certain kind of plot for me to give a 5. Not that it can be slow, because that's totally fine, but it needs certain value. I keep itching my nose. I'm really sorry while I'm talking. And the next and last challenge is called Done Waiting, and it's to choose a book that is getting an adaptation. And for that I read Tiny Pretty Things by Sona Sharipotra and Danielle Clayton, which I know, I'm sorry. And this one is the first one in a duology called Tiny Pretty Things, and this one has been out for a while. The Netflix adaptation is actually coming the 14th of December, so like really soon. I'm very excited to watch it. I thought this was a dystopia book, but it's just contemporary, and it's basically Black Swan meets Pretty Liars, and that is how it's pitched as. And I thought it was really fun because I talked about this book with my friend, and I said that it feels like Pretty Liars, just better, and then it's literally pitched at that. So it's a really accurate, like, what is this book? There's, I think, a hair on my nose, which is where I keep itching from my like hair, and I'm really sorry. So it follows 3 different main characters. We have Gigi, who is a black girl, and she came to the school which is really exclusive, ballet dancers, and she's pretty new there, and is trying to settle in, and she's like super good, and everyone is getting jealous, and yeah, because they wanted them, like, certain parts, and she gets them because she's better. Then we also have June, who is half Korean, and she is very alone, doesn't have any friends. Used to be friends with other Koreans there, but they're not anymore, and she also wants the main part. And yay. Also, trigger warnings for eating disorders. Insane ones, okay. Not insane ones, not a more insane than usual ones. I meant it was insane on page, that's what I meant to say. And then we have Betta, I don't know how to say her name, Betty, who is white, and she wants to be the best dancer. She used to be the best one, but then Gigi came along and she's not happy about it. So she's like basically a bitch. She does a lot of mean things to other people. And yeah, it's basically all of them just competing and doing horrible things to each other to be the best dancers. And I'm laughing because it's so intense and so many things happening, like people falling down the stairs, people being dropped on the floor, people being pushed out in the road. I'm just telling you, it's intense shit going down here. And it was fun, okay? It's a bit like trashy, but it was fun. It was like sexy, and it's that kind of read, and I really enjoyed it. I actually was really in suspense of like what was going to happen, who was behind everything, and we still don't know. So I'm really excited to see the sequel. It's definitely different from what I saw in the trailer because I did some other changes, and that's totally fine. But I still think the adaptation looks super good. It captures the things from the story here, and I'm really excited actually to read the sequel, which I should pick up maybe before the next 3 years, because that's apparently how long I used to pick up sequels. But yay, what more to say? Being a dancer is much important here. They're all crazy. It was good. That's it. That's the 12 books I have been reading for the last 3 months for God of Thing 4 season challenge. God of Thing for Winter will be up very soon. I already made my TBR, that's what I should say. It will just be up very soon. So if you want to join me, you can do it then, or you can even, I mean, you could go back and join the old ones, but that's boring. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Cannot function as a person. I cannot speak or at all. How do people film videos? I don't know. Bye!